Krásný dobrý den. My name is Zuzka and I am going to teach you how to say here in Czech. If you've studied Czech for some time, you might have noticed that it has several words to express the word here. In this video, I would like to focus on these three words, which are very similar. Tady, tu, zde. Tady, tu, zde all mean here. There is a slight difference. And that's what you're going to learn today. I'm actually not even mentioning this word here, sem, which also means here, but it's when you talk about movement. There is an important difference between where you are versus where you go. So for example, I'm here, jsem tady, pojď sem, come here. Sem involves movement, tady is related to location without moving. I am not going to speak about this difference, but it's also good to keep in mind that sem also means here, as in to here. Tady, tu, zde. Let's see how we can use them. How different are they? Jdeme na to. Ahoj, vítejte na mém kanále Czech by Zuzka, kde vám pomocí angličtiny vysvětluju českou gramatiku. I would like to start with the word zde. Zde is a word that you might not hear in conversations, not as much. Where you will find it most is in print, because it appears in official documents or on signs or notice boards. It is very formal, very official. Anytime you see an advertisement about something, it's more likely to use zde than tady. Unless they want to sound casual, unless that's what the marketing team is going for. For example, if someone says, jsem zde, I'm here, it sounds military. You would not say it to someone in a casual way unless you are kind of joking, you would not say jsem zde. People do say it as a joke. But for example, if you watch a movie where there is a scene where some military official is going through the room and saying names of people, they would always answer by saying zde, Novák, zde, here. So this is jsem zde, I am here, very official. Informace naleznete zde. You will find the information here, very official as well. Informace naleznete zde. It's also possible to put zde at the beginning. You could say zde naleznete informace. Also notice that the verb is very formal. Instead of saying najít, najdete, it's very common to use nalézt. Nalézt is a formal verb for najít, to find. Or here's a sentence I actually found on the internet. Naleznete zde kompletně vybavené vzorové domy. You will find fully equipped model homes here. Naleznete zde kompletně vybavené vzorové domy. So this is a perfect sentence for any catalog or portfolio of a company. Zde podepište, also a very formal phrase. Sign here. Actually, sign here. Zde podepište. Also, we can reverse it. Podepište zde. Zde is a little tricky to pronounce. Zde, maybe that's why we don't say it that much. If you are in a Czech town or city, you will find all these memorial plaques in the streets, or these little stones on the ground. They would say who lived there, what famous person lived there, or who died there also during the war. For example, zde bydlel Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart lived here. Zde bydlel Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. Another sentence. V roce 1712 zde založili sklárnu. In 1712, they founded a glasswork here. V roce 1712 zde založili sklárnu. Very typical for guidebooks, for example. Information about a certain place. Or even in logos, like this is the DM logo, Czech version. Zde jsem člověkem, zde nakupuji. Here I am a human, here I shop. Zde jsem člověkem, zde nakupuji. So remember, zde has this official feeling. Sometimes it could feel a little fancy. People do not usually use it in spoken Czech. Unless there is a reason for it, maybe when it's an official speech, it is becoming less and less common in spoken Czech. If you're wondering, can we replace it by tady? We could. It would just be a little bit less formal. You could simply say jsem tady. Informace naleznete tady a tady podepište, no problem. But now let's see tady in more detail. Tady. Tady is your best friend because it's the most common version of here and it's neutral. It's not formal, it's not exactly informal, although compared to the other two, zde and tu is more informal, yes. Let's take a look at some examples. Už jsem tady, I'm here already. Už jsem tady. When you come to a place they've been expecting you, you say, ahoj, už jsem tady. And remember, if you are joking, you wanna sound fake official, you can say, už jsem zde. Tady to podepište, sign it here. Tady to podepište in a friendlier tone, less official than podepište zde. Notice also we added to because it would sound better to actually explicitly say, sign it here. This is a nice sentence. Co to tady je? Really useful because it has multiple meanings. Literally, you could be, you're asking about something you see and you're wondering, what is it here? I don't know what this thing is. Co to tady je? Or you see, I don't know, a scratch. Co to tady je? What's this here? Or if you come to a place and you see a mess or people doing something they're not supposed to do, you're kind of shocked. You can say, co to tady je? What's going on here? It depends on the tone. Or you could scold them. Co to tady je? What's going on here? Or you visit someone's place and you like it. You want to say, this is a nice place you got here. Máte to tady hezký. Or máš to tady hezký. It's nice in here. This is a little informal because we also use this ending hezký. That's the ending of the common Czech. Máš to tady hezký. Máte to tady hezký. We have a nice place here. Another phrase. Aspoň tady budeš mít soukromí. At least you'll have some privacy here. Aspoň tady budeš mít soukromí. I would like to show you a few set phrases with tady. They would not go with the other two. For example, teď a tady. Right here, right now, we tend to use this order a little bit more often, which is here and now, but you could also say tady a teď. Žiju teď a tady. I'm living in the moment kind of thing. Žiju teď a tady. Right here, right now. Tady jsem doma. Tady jsem doma. Here I am at home, literally. This is my home. Tady jsem doma. You can also use this phrase when you refer to a place where you feel home. You feel right at home. Tady jsem doma. Ostrava. Tady jsem doma. Tady hlídám já. This is a very popular notice announcing that there is a dog that guards. The dog speaks and says, tady hlídám já, watch out. I'm the guard here. I'm in charge here of guarding this house. Tady hlídám já. A je to tady. And here we go. When you see something that you expected, you were warning about it. A je to tady. And here we go. Or it could also be excitement. A je to tady. And here we go. A je to tady. It doesn't have to have a in there. Dámy a pánové, je to tady. Máme výsledky. Ladies and gentlemen, it's here. Here we go. The results are in. Or when you pick up the phone. Dobrý den. Tady mrázek. Dobrý den, tady mrázek. Mrázek speaking. We say mrázek here. Mr. Mrázek speaking. Dobrý den, tady mrázek. So when you pick up the phone and you want to say who's speaking, you would say tady and your name or last name. So this was tady. Remember, tady is your best bet. In conversations, when you don't need to be formal, just use tady. It's also important to mention that when we speak informally, we can pronounce tady less diligently. It can sound something like taj. Já tady počkám. Já tady počkám. Já tady počkám. Tady někde to bylo. Tady někde to bylo. Tady někde to bylo. And finally, our last word, which is tu. Tu as an adverb referring to here in English. Tu is more formal, we could say, but I am not going to speak for the whole Czech Republic because there are some regions where tu would be much more common in spoken Czech. But in Bohemia, in the center of the Czech Republic, when we use tu, it usually sounds more formal, except for a few set phrases, of course. And also because it's short. It's more practical when you text, when you send text messages. You can also use this short word because it's just 2 letters instead of tady, 4 letters. One more thing that you should know, because tu is so short and it doesn't really have stress on it, it usually doesn't appear at the beginning or at the very end of the phrase. Of course, a few exceptions apply, like these two. These are set phrases. Tu máš means here you go. Of course, you can say tady máš. Some people in some other regions would go for tu máš. And for me, this phrase tu máš has a little bit more old-fashioned feeling. But I come from the central Bohemia. Tu a tam, that means here and there. Tu a tam. We don't say tady a tam. If you want to describe that something happened irregularly, there were a couple of things, not too many, just here and there. Bylo ticho. Jen tu a tam se ozvalo psí štěkání. It was quiet. Only here and there you could hear a dog bark. Bylo ticho, jen tu a tam se ozvalo psí štěkání. So there are some set phrases that would have tu at the beginning. Otherwise, it's not convenient to have it at the beginning or at the end because it's short and you could maybe not hear it. Tu, as I mentioned, can be used when we message because it's short. So I just picked a few random text messages or WhatsApp messages where I actually used tu. And it's not that I wanted to sound formal. It's just something natural that we use in text messages, not always, but just because it's short. Jsme tu, we're here. You could use that in spoken Czech as well, but if you do, it would have a more formal feeling. Jsme tu. Teď tu 2 dny pršelo. Here is actually a perfect place because it's guarded by all these words. It's not at the very beginning, it's not at the end. It rained here for 2 days. Teď tu 2 dny pršelo. Máme tu 2 kalendáře. We have 2 calendars in here. Máme tu 2 kalendáře. Let me say it quickly. Máme tu 2 kalendáře. You hear that it kind of gets lost when you say it quickly. And I'm not saying that people don't say it, but when people do use it in spoken Czech, it has a more formal feeling. Podívej, jak to tu vypadá. Take a look how it looks here. Podívej, jak to tu vypadá. Jak to tu vypadá. You could replace tu by tady, no problem. Jsme tady, teď tady 2 dny pršelo, máme tady 2 kalendáře, exactly the same meaning. In spoken Czech, this would sound less formal. Let's see more examples with tu. Můžete si tu odložit. Someone could say, you can leave your things here, like when you go to a doctor, you want to put your coat and gloves somewhere. Můžete si tu odložit. Jak dlouho tu bydlíš? How long have you been living here? Jak dlouho tu bydlíš? Jak dlouho tu bydlíš? Co tu děláš? What are you doing here? Co tu děláš? And a phrase from my favorite movie about Jara Zimmerman.
Vynalezl jsem telefon. Teď tu byl. Museli jste se potkat. Nějaký Graham Bell.
Teď tu byl. He was just here. Teď tu byl. That movie is a little old, I think from the 80s. So you can see that they use this word. I would say that tu in spoken Czech is also becoming more archaic. Just like zde. Zde and tu are used less and less in spoken Czech. If we do use them, they have a more formal feeling. And these are the perfect examples of tu not being at the beginning or at the end. If you say tu si můžete odložit, sounds very outdated. Co děláš tu? Not a good option. You notice they would go right before verbs here. Tu odložit, tu bydlíš, tu děláš, tu byl. And of course, you can replace them by tady. Nothing would change whatsoever, not even the word order. Můžete si tady odložit. Jak dlouho tady bydlíš? Co tady děláš? Teď tady byl. Also, keep in mind that tu can mean another thing. Here we're talking about an adverb that means here in this place. However, tu can also be a demonstrative pronoun referring to something feminine, a feminine noun. Like tu skleničku in the accusative case. Prosím tě, nevidíš někde tu skleničku? Do you happen to see that glass somewhere? A funny thing, we could actually use tu twice in this phrase if we wanted to say, do you happen to see that glass in here somewhere? Nevidíš tu někde tu sklenici? We used to right after the verb because at the beginning it would not sound right. So it just tends to be near the verb. Nevidíš tu někde tu sklenici? The first tu is as in here, and the second tu means that. Of course, now it's time for a short exercise. We're going to translate some sentences together, one sentence at a time. Your task, of course, will be to translate these sentences using either zde, tady, or tu. We will often have more than one possibility. And I also wrote a couple of keywords here for you. So for example, the first one, I've been here before. I'm helping you out by offering these 3 words that you will use, not necessarily in this order. There'll be more words plus one of these. Pause the video so you can think about the translation. Now let's see how we could translate it. I've been here before. Let me give you the first version. We could say Tady už jsem jednou byl. I have been here before. Tady už jsem jednou byl. We could also have a different word order. Už jsem tady jednou byl. That's another possibility. Both these sentences are a very good option how to say this sentence. Už jsem tady jednou byl. Tady už jsem jednou byl. Now, can we say zde or tu? Okay, here, tu už jsem jednou byl doesn't sound good. Zde už jsem jednou byl sounds way too official. Not that it's wrong, but I would never say it. Not even write it. Už jsem tady jednou byl. Here, if we use tu, it doesn't sound weird because it's not at the beginning. Už jsem tu jednou byl. Sounds pretty good. Už jsem zde jednou byl. It's the same thing, it's just too formal. Next sentence. How long have you been waiting here? Some of the words that you will use are čekáš and dlouho. Of course, there will be more, and you also have to use one of these. Zde, tady, tu. Pause the video and translate. Now let's see, how can we say this in Czech? This one is a little bit easier. We can simply start by jak dlouho. There is no other option really. Jak dlouho tady čekáš. Jak dlouho tady čekáš. Remember, in Czech we don't have present perfect simple or continuous. Here we would just use the present tense. How long do you wait here? Jak dlouho tady čekáš. Jak dlouho tu čekáš is another option. Jak dlouho zde čekáš? Too official. Not necessary. But if you ask me, tady is the most natural way. Our next phrase to translate, you can find out more here. Here. These are the 3 words that I would like you to use, plus more words and plus one of these. Jdeme na to a teď to jdeme zkontrolovat. I could say, tady se můžete dozvědět víc or více. There's a small difference between these two. Tady se můžete dozvědět více. Another word order would also be více se můžete dozvědět tady. Almost reversed. Více se můžete dozvědět tady. This is more casual, but if you need it to be formal, if it's, I don't know, something printed, then it's perfectly okay to use zde here. Zde se můžete dozvědět více. Více is more formal. Víc is less formal. I have a video about that. Tu se můžete dozvědět víc. Nah, doesn't sound good. You could say something like můžete se tu dozvědět víc if you put it in the middle. But this sentence sounds like it's emphasizing it's here where you can find more information. Let's do one more. And this is our final sentence, number 4. I made new friends here. And I want you to use the words našla, so it will be a woman speaking, našla and nové. So here is what we could say. Našla jsem si tady nové kamarády. Našla jsem si tady nové kamarády. I found new friends here. If you're asking why is si in here, it could be removed, but it just would not sound as natural because if you say našla jsem si tady nové kamarády, našla jsem si emphasizes that you found them for yourself. It's just more Czech. Tady can be replaced by tu. Here need a verb. Našla jsem si tu nové kamarády. Našla jsem si zde nové kamarády. Too formal, unnecessarily official. To je všechno. Please let me know what you think about this topic, what you've learned about this. What questions do you have? I would also like to know, do you like these types of exercises, the translation with a little bit of a guidance? A je tady konec. The end is here. Děkuji, že jste se dívali a na viděnou příští týden. Ahoj!